ओह, उफ, तुम दोनों! जहाँ दो इंसान दिखे वहीं तुम लोग उन्हें मिलाने लग जाते हो।
अरे क्या हुआ?
प्यार सिखाना हमारा काम है और तुम उसमें टांग अड़ा रही हो।
अपनी जुबान संभालो मौली, हम मैच मेकर हैं, कोई टांका भिड़ाने वाले भैया नहीं, समझी?
मुझे कहाँ ले जा रहे हो?
शांत प्लीज, आओ थोड़ा मसाज ले लो, अच्छा लगेगा।
नो!
आ
हाय आ क्या करें?
लेट्स गो। हमारी कमांड फेल हो गई।
मॉली ने इमरजेंसी सिग्नल भेज दिया। उस दिन डार्क फोर्सेस वाले भी कह रहे थे मोरालिटी और एथिक्स वाले सबके मामलों में दखलंदाजी करते हैं।
क्या कर रहे हो सैम? आना भूखी होगी, घर जाओ।
Hachette, the subconscious symphony, the good force. From the sidelines, Sam took a step forward, his intent clear, as he wanted to talk to Ira. Suddenly, the cacophony of the external world dimmed, and the vivid imagery of the bustling basketball court converged into a focused beam of light. As it reflected of Sam's cornea, behind Sam's eyes, a journey of light began. As it passed through the intricate lens of his iris, the trail bifurcated into a mesmerizing spectrum, each hue darting swiftly into the pathways of his brain. A particularly vibrant spectrum, traveling at supersonic speed, struck the hologram of the Department of Morality and Ethics. This ethereal department was governed by none other than Molly, a figure of authority responsible for the moral correctness of humans under her charge. The department lit up with the image of Sam stepping forward toward Ira. Molly reviewed the preceding events with stern precision. Discontent flared within her as she realized the moral implications of Sam's actions. Determined to restore balance, she swung into action, enforcing obedience and confronting the mischievous duo, Oxy and Dopey. With a powerful turbo boost, Molly zoomed through the neural network, the tunnel-like structures twisting and turning until she reached the Department of Love. The atmosphere here was markedly different. It was one of languid luxury, where emotions roamed free without the constraints of ethics. Oxy and Dopey lounged in their respective massage chairs, legs stretched and arms flexed, embodying tranquil decadence. Infuriated by their indifference, Molly landed forcefully before them.
Do you two have any sense of shame?
Molly's voice rung out, her words sharp and laced with frustration. Oxy and Dopey exchanged puzzled glances, their ignorance noticeable. "What is that for?" they asked in unison. Molly's eyes blazed with righteous indignation.
As soon as you see two humans, you start meddling to make them a pair.
She admonished, accusing them of meddling whenever two humans got close. Oxy, with an air of defiant attitude, retorted.
Our job is to make people fall in love, and you are interfering in that.
Dopey, equally affronted, added.
Watch your tone, Molly. We are matchmakers, not meddling busybodies.
Molly, retaining her composure, countered.
Before matchmaking, did you consider Sam and Ira's age gap, Sam's marital status, his marriage, and his 5-year-old daughter?
Oxy and Dopey looked utterly bewildered. Molly's concerns seemed alien to them, as if she was speaking a different language.
What language are you speaking, Molly?
Oxy asked, genuinely confused.
Our main job is to make babies. Otherwise, how would human civilization progress? But age, marriage, what are these?
They couldn't comprehend Molly's emphasis on age, marriage, or familial responsibilities. In their simplistic worldview, fostering love and ensuring the continuation of human civilization through procreation were their principal duties. Concepts like marital status and ethical considerations were foreign, irrelevant to their primary mission. Molly took a deep breath, realizing the profound disconnect between the Department of Morality and Ethics and the Department of Love. This was not a simple misunderstanding. It was a fundamental clash of values. She needed to make Oxy and Dopey understand the intricate weave of human relationships, where emotions, responsibilities, and ethical considerations all played crucial roles. Oxy, Dopey, she began, her tone softer but no less firm.
Love is beautiful and essential for human civilization, but it cannot exist in isolation from responsibility and morality. Sam has a family, a wife, and a child. Igniting feelings between Sam and Ira without considering the consequences can lead to hurt and broken lives. It's not just about making people fall in love. It's about ensuring that love nurtures and sustains rather than destroys.
Even though Oxy and Dopey were usually carefree, they sensed the seriousness of the moment and moved to calm Molly down. Oxy rose from her massage chair and gently made Molly sit down on it.
Molly, this is the department of love. We teach people to love, not to get destroyed by it. Relax and take a little massage. You'll feel better, and then we can talk.
At that very moment, an insistent buzz sounded from the command center in the room. Dopey ran towards the hologram, followed closely by Oxy and Molly.
What's happening, Dopey?
Oxy inquired. Reprimanding Molly, Dopey added,
Because of you, everything got delayed. By now, Sam and Ira might have already connected.
Dopey, referring to Sam's actions in the external world, stated.
Sam is just about to ask Ira her name.
Excited, Oxy instructed.
Plan a coffee date for them tomorrow as well.
Dopey, inspired, quoted a famous saying,
Seize the moment. What you plan for tomorrow, do today. And what you plan for today, do now.
With a few swift taps on the holographic interface, Dopey pressed the go icon. Instantly, pink and blue beams of light burst forth, racing down the neural tunnels. Molly, enraged by Oxy and Dopey's impulsive actions, quickly flung open her hologram with a hand gesture, tapping rapidly before pressing her own go icon. A yellow beam of light erupted from Molly's screen, taking a different pathway through the tunnels. Just before hitting the iris, all the different tunnels from various command centers merged into one principal tunnel, which was connected to the iris. The yellow beam of light, representing Molly's command, took the shortest possible path, entering the principal tunnel just ahead of the pink and blue beams, thus making Oxy and Dopey's commands null and void. On the basketball court, Sam followed Ira closely, his focus unwavering. An inch away from her, Sam was about to call out when a brilliant yellow beam of light struck his iris. For a fleeting moment, his eyes glowed with an ethereal yellow hue. Then, just as quickly, the glow dissipated. Sam froze in his tracks, his mind suddenly filled with an inner voice, clear and insistent.
What are you doing, Sam? Anna must be hungry. It's dinner time. Feed her.
Shaking off the surreal experience, Sam refocused his attention on Anna, who was playing by the sidelines. He smiled at her, a gentle, reassuring smile, and she smiled back, her eyes twinkling.
Let's go home. It's dinner time, sweetie.
Said Sam. Anna nodded, and together they turned towards home, leaving behind the intrigue of the yellow beam. Meanwhile, Oxy and Dopey, in the realm of the brain, stared dumbfounded by the unexpected turn of events. Oxy said,
It looks like Molly sent out an emergency signal.
Both Oxy and Dopey's eyes met Molly's, who stood still, her gaze intense and piercing. Molly, with a stern gaze, warned.
We are at war.
With those words, Molly activated her turbo boost liftoff and zoomed away, leaving behind a trail of smoke. Oxy's face twisted in confusion as she held Dopey's hand.
What's this battle about?
Asked Oxy with childlike innocence. Dopey sighed, rubbing his temples in frustration.
I don't know. The other day in the meeting, fear, hate, anger, jealousy, and ego were also complaining. These morality and ethics folks constantly interfere in everyone's work.
Suddenly, Molly's voice reverberated throughout the love chamber.
It's just a glimpse of the threat we face. When one realm is disturbed, it echoes through them all. This inner war is just the beginning to maintain order.
Oxy and Dopey exchanged perplexed looks.